Hello, everyone. My name is Amy. So, first and foremost, before we get into any of this stuff that I'm going to talk about, let's take a moment to just ground ourselves and find some grounding energy and prepare the body, the mind, and the soul to just receive whatever it is going to receive over the next hour or so. And, if nothing else, this might just be the only chance you have in your day today to just stop and take a few breaths. So, if you wouldn't mind, I'm assuming you are in a seated position, just kind of bring your hands to the tops of your knees and start to focus a little bit on your breath. So notice how you're breathing right now. Notice your inhales and your exhales. And with your next inhale, puff your chest out, kind of press your chest out and look up, kind of open up the throat, look up to the sky. And then as you exhale, pull back on your knees around your spine, tuck your chin. So you're really rounding your spine. This is like a seated cat and cow. So let's do that a couple more times. So inhale, press your chest forward, look up, open up the chest, open up the throat. Exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin. Once more, inhale, look up, and exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin. Good. So come to a neutral spine. Inhale, reach your arms out, around, and up. You can allow your gaze to follow. So look up as you reach up. And as you exhale, bring your left hand to your right knee and your right hand to the back of your chair. And lengthen up through your spine, lengthen up through the crown of your head. And as you exhale, slowly start to twist. So let your gaze follow. You're just looking back behind you. Again, inhale, lengthen through your spine, and exhale, twist, and gently unravel. Inhale, reach your arms out, around, and up. Again, look up. And exhale, we'll do the other side. So your right hand comes to your left knee, your left hand comes to your chair behind you. Lengthen up through your spine, and exhale, twist. Look behind you. Again, inhale, lift and lengthen, and exhale, twist. Good. Slowly start to unravel. Inhale, reach your arms out, around, and up. This time, as you exhale, reach your hands down to your sides. Actually, reach actively out through your left fingertips. Take a breath in, lengthen up through your spine. And then as you exhale, drop your right ear to your right shoulder. And again, lengthen and reach out through your left fingertips. So you should feel a nice stretch all the way from your left fingertips through your neck, through the crown of your head. Good. Come back through center, lengthen up through the center. Reach out with your right fingertips now. Actively reach through your fingertips. Lengthen, inhale, and exhale. Drop your left ear to your left shoulder and feel that stretch on this side. So again, lengthen out through your right fingertips. Feel that stretch all the way from your right fingertips through your neck, through the crown of your head. Good. Come back through center. One more time. Inhale, reach your arms out, around, and up. Bring your palms together. This time, as you exhale, palms together. Bring your thumb knuckles right to your third eye space. So this space right between your eyebrows on your forehead, and go ahead and close your eyes. So gently press your thumb knuckles right into that space and bring your inner awareness, your inner gaze right to that space. Now inhale from the base of your spine up through the crown of your head. Inhale, fully fill up your lungs, and at the very top of your breath, just hold it for just a moment. And then exhale, fully release all of the air in your lungs. We'll do that 2 more times. So inhale from the base of your spine through the crown of your head. Inhale fully, fill up your lungs, let your chest expand and hold at the top. Exhale, completely release and let go. One more time, inhale, fill up your lungs, your chest, your rib cage expands, your chest lifts and hold. And exhale, release and relax. With your eyes still closed for just another moment, bring your arms next to your sides and just relax your arms next to your sides. And from here, slowly start to blink your eyes open and start to just breathe normally and take note of how different you maybe feel. Again, maybe it's just that that's the first time today that you've had a moment to just sit and breathe. Maybe that's exactly what you needed to kind of regain some motivation and some energy to get through this next hour. So notice how different you feel maybe than you did before we did that little exercise. Um, so I am Amy Hilgenberg. I am a personal trainer, a nutrition coach, a yoga instructor. I'm the owner of Nama Strength Training. I have helped countless people reach their health and fitness goals, heal their relationship with their bodies, and find food freedom in a non-restricted and a stress-free way. I also lead and mentor other coaches on how to achieve the best results for their clients. And I partner with businesses to bring health and wellness to the workplace. I'm also a certified Reiki master and I offer energetic and energy healing to my clients. So I really take a holistic approach to health and wellness. And I believe that our energetic and our spiritual health is just as important as our physical health. It's all really connected. So I'm sure that there are many of you who have never even heard of Reiki, or if you have heard of it, maybe you have this perception that it's kind of woo-woo, or maybe you just don't have a real clear understanding of it. Don't worry, I was definitely one of those people. I still am kind of one of those people that's like, maybe it is a little bit woo-woo, I don't know, but I totally believe in it. And I'm very happy to be here and kind of talk about it and dispel some of those myths that might come along with it and talk about its many benefits. So first, I'll start with just a little bit of background about me and how I got into all of the work that I do, my training, nutrition coaching, including Reiki and energy healing. And then I will take a few moments to talk about Reiki and how it works. And then we will end with another more in-depth meditation, and I will guide you on how you can give yourself Reiki and how you can learn how to kind of feel that energy within your own bodies. So the work that I do in fitness and nutrition. At a very young age, I developed a terrible relationship with food and with my body. So just to give you an idea, one of my very earliest memories was my mother telling me to suck my stomach in. I was, I think 4 or 5 years old. And that single phrase really shaped my entire sense of self. This resulted in a very disordered eating, just kind of a constant cycle of both binging and restricting. And I steadily gained weight through my teenage years and my early 20s. I was born and raised in Utah. And being from Utah, we kind of took as much advantage of the mountains as we possibly could. And our favorite and our primary form of vacation, family vacation, was hiking and camping, and I loved it. And at the age of 23, and at the heaviest I had ever been, my family and I went on a trip to southern Utah to hike one of my very favorite Slot Canyon trails. So it's not a terribly difficult hike, but because it's a slot canyon, there are spots that, depending on the time of the year and the amount of water that's maybe in the canyon, it can get a little bit technical. There might be times where you kind of have to climb up and over some big rocks in order to maneuver your way around some of these obstacles so you can make your way through the trail. Well, a few hours into that hike, we came up on a huge boulder that we had to climb up and over in order to move on. Now, Each member of my family easily got over that rock, but I was so heavy and so out of shape that I couldn't. My younger brother, he's 2 years younger than me, he had to get behind me and push me up and over this rock. He was sort of hoisting me up and over this rock. It was obviously mortifying, right? Very embarrassing. But in that mortifying moment, something kind of changed. I realized that my health, for the first time ever, my health was preventing me from doing something that I loved doing. Because up until that point, I was a teenager, I was a young girl. I was really only worried about whether or not boys liked me, the size of pants I was wearing, what I looked like in the mirror, right? But this was the first time that my health prevented me from doing something that I loved doing with the people that I loved doing it with. And I wasn't okay with that. So that day, I made a promise to myself to get healthy and change my life. I swore that I would never feel that way again, and I vowed never to break that promise. I joined a gym. I learned how to move my body, and I lost 70 pounds within a year. That hiking trip with my family that day, that was my rock bottom at that moment. And I had to hit that rock bottom in order to make any sort of lasting change. But something kind of funny happened. Once I started to change my life for the better in one area, in that area, I felt compelled to kind of level up my life in all areas, including my spiritual health. And I've always been very open to trying different things and trying different modalities of spiritual practices and healing practices. And shortly after losing that weight, I began a dedicated yoga and meditation practice and soon became a certified yoga instructor. I loved the mind body connection that my yoga practice provided me, and I still do love that. I love simple chanting. I love learning and implementing meditation. It was really the first time that I had kind of dipped my toes into an inward practice. But if I'm being honest with myself, those toes were kind of half in and half out. At the root of it, again, if I'm being honest with myself, at the root of it, I loved yoga in the beginning for the physical aspects of it. I was kind of always looking for that next great workout. And I kind of spent a lot of my life in that space, kind of dabbling in alternative healing and spiritual practices, anything that I could get my hands on that was outside of the religion that I was born into. But at that time, I didn't really dedicate any sort of real time into developing a deeper internal practice because that physical movement that was working for me, it was lowering my anxiety, it was helping me manage my stress, it was keeping me sane in a lot of ways. In addition to yoga, I started moving my body in a lot of different ways. I started lifting weights for the very first time, and I loved, for the first time, moving my body and trying different ways to do that. And it became very distracting. I really got lost in the weight room, and I took my emotions and my stress out on the weights in a lot of different ways. A few years into my own coaching business, my life started to kind of crumble down around me. I was going through a lot of major life changes, and my health really started to take a toll because of it. My sleep was disrupted. All of a sudden, my body sort of started to ache all over. And from the outside, it really looked like I was the healthiest person in the world. I was competing in bodybuilding competitions. Um, but the reality is that I really kind of felt at the time like my body was shutting down. Um, and at this time, while this was kind of happening, I was obviously getting older. And at the time, the majority of my mostly women clientele were also getting older. And as I'm coaching these women, I couldn't kind of shake the feeling that something was missing. I knew I was a good coach. I was getting results for my clients, but something was just missing. When it dawned on me that changing hormones were the missing piece. I put my own coaching business on hold to join a team of all female coaches who work only with perimenopausal, menopausal, and postmenopausal women. Through the process of helping these women navigate their hormonal shift, I kind of started to pick up on some common themes throughout. They wake up one day and find that their body is betraying them. They feel like they have to work 10 times harder to get to their goal. They gain 20 pounds overnight. They hate the way they look in the mirror. They can't sleep, and anything and everything could cause sort of like an emotion of explosion, like just an explosion of emotion. And in a lot of ways, almost overnight, it felt like their entire sense of self fades. And they really have little support from the medical community, the medical field. So, as a last ditch effort, these women come to me for guidance after, hours of searching for support and answers in online forums and being dismissed by their doctors a lot of times. And as I began to work with these women and kind of get to know them, it became clear to me that this wasn't just a hormonal issue. This was a mental health issue. Now, while I am getting older, and it certainly felt at the time like I was definitely getting a lot older, I'm not quite there yet. And so I don't know what it feels completely. I don't totally know what it feels like to be in those shoes. So to maintain credibility, I knew that I had to find a way to connect with these women on a deeper level, right? If I couldn't connect with them on that in that hormonal way, if I couldn't experience those hormonal shifts, I could certainly, and I would certainly work on my mental health. So I did. For an entire year, I immersed myself in therapy and in inner work and self reflection. Again, I was going through all of those major life changes. My body was hurting. I was in the middle of a stressful divorce and doing everything I could to kind of keep my head above water at the time. And the things that used to work for me, hiding in the gym and distracting myself in the weight room, those things that used to work for me, they weren't cutting it anymore. It became obvious to me that for the last decade, previous to that, I had been using exercise as a distraction from doing the real work. Just like I had to hit rock bottom that first time, I had to hit rock bottom in this way for me to make this change. Back then, I had to hit rock bottom to make a lasting change to make my life better. And this was no different. So I soon realized that I had a tendency to use the gym in place of facing some of my own personal demons. So I forced myself from training 6 days a week to just training 1 to 2 days a week so that I had the time and the capacity to really prioritize my mental health as much as my physical health for the first time ever, really. I mean, one of these days I will experience significant personal growth without having to hit rock bottom. Here's hoping, but clearly today is not the day. Um, but that experience was really life changing. It was long overdue, and it really gave me permission to choose stillness over distraction. And it allowed me to really explore different modalities of healing and spirituality. And as I continued to prioritize my mental health, my spiritual health just kind of naturally strengthened. But my body still hurt. My anxiety was still high. My cortisol levels were through the roof, and I felt hopeless and alone. But I had made a promise to myself to give it a year and to dedicate a year to this type of personal growth. So I kept that promise to myself, and I kept it to a year. Um, I continue to prioritize my mental health and my spiritual growth. And I tried a lot of different ways to connect to my inner self. And as I learned how to go inward, I also learned how to trust myself and trust my intuition for the first time ever. And those things are just like anything else, right? Those things are muscles that we have to train. And the more we do, and the more we work with them, and the more we put those things into practice, trusting yourself and trusting your intuition, the more we're strengthening that muscle. So one day, as I was deeply in meditation, a very clear voice in my head told me to add Reiki to my healing practices, which I know that that sounds crazy. And it sounded crazy to me because at the time, I really had very little experience with Reiki. This was, I mean, like maybe 20 years ago, I had one Reiki session. And I just remember just kind of laying there and feeling nothing. I mean, at the end of the session, I felt very relaxed, but I don't remember any big, you know, internal energetic shifts or anything magical happening. I just, you know, I laid there for an hour and I felt very relaxed afterwards, which was not a negative thing for sure, but definitely didn't really, my experience wasn't necessarily what I expected it to be. And so when I heard this voice in my head that I had to uh, add Reiki to my healing practices, it was very surprising to me. But luckily, I've had a lot of practice trusting myself and my intuition and building up those muscles. So when a voice tells me to do something, I do it, even if it feels insane, because where did that even come from? I mean, I have had to trust myself in a lot of different ways. And sometimes my intuition tells me to do something I don't want to do at all. And I've had to learn that time and time again that I have to trust it. Um, so I did. I started to pour myself into learning about energy work and energy healing. I joined a Reiki certification group and I received all of the attunements, all of the certifications up to the master level. And these students and I that were in this certification course together, we had sort of a Reiki share group where we, you know, kind of sat in a circle and we took turns giving each other Reiki and receiving Reiki. And so at that time, that is to say that at that time, I was receiving a lot of Reiki. And I realized that suddenly my body stopped hurting. I was sleeping better. My anxiety and my cortisol levels, they started to drop and my energy started to increase. The physical benefits, the physical evidence of the benefits that I was receiving through this Reiki practice was enough to hook me. I wasn't a skeptic anymore. And now, at this time of my life, when I feel those cortisol levels rise, or when I feel my anxiety start to heighten within me, I simply stop, close my eyes, take some breaths, and I simply lay my hands on my head or over my eyes or on my heart space. And I immediately feel myself relax and soften. As a mom, I have two kids. I have two boys, they're 7 and 11. As a mom, I use Reiki almost every day when my kids are riled up, when they can't, you know, calm themselves down, when they're anxious about a test at school, when they're scared to go to bed at night. Um, I put my hands on them and I use my hands as a conduit of this healing and this calming energy. And it works every time. By the way, you should feel the energy that is running through a 7-year-old boy's brain at all times. It's it's crazy. It's exactly what you would expect from a 7-year-old boy. Okay, so what is Reiki? So first, I think it's helpful to talk about what Reiki is not. So Reiki is not a religion. It's definitely spiritual in nature, but it's not a religion, and it has no dogma. There's no conflict between Reiki and any belief system. It's kind of like prayer. It's a spiritual practice, but it's not specific to a religion, and it's not its own religion. Um, Second, Reiki is not an entrance point for any type of bad energy or dark spirits at all. Reiki is only good. Reiki is simply providing love and compassion for the receiver's highest and greatest good. The intentions are purely loving, and therefore bad energy is just not welcome there, and it's not even possible because Reiki is only good energy. Reiki is a gentle, non-invasive healing practice that originated in Japan. The word Reiki combines two Japanese words, rei, meaning universal, and ki, meaning life energy. Practitioners believe that this universal life energy, this universal life force flows through all living beings, and that when this life force or this energy is low or if it's blocked, we're more likely to feel stress or get sick. Reiki aims to balance this energy to promote relaxation, healing, and overall well-being. So, if you've never had a Reiki session, during a Reiki session, the practitioner, so the person giving the Reiki, again, is a conduit for this universal life force. So, the energy, if I'm giving somebody Reiki, the energy that I'm giving them is not coming from me; it's moving through me. So during a Reiki session, a practitioner uses light touch or holds their hands just above the body in specific positions. The recipient remains fully clothed and often lies on a massage table in a quiet, comfortable room. People often report feeling kind of warm or tingly or deeply relaxed, like I did that first time. Um, Again, Reiki doesn't require belief or any specific spiritual background. It's safe for people of all ages and can really complement other medical or therapeutic treatments by reducing stress and supporting the body's natural healing processes. So during a Reiki session, the practitioner usually uses light touch or even holds their hands just above the body in specific positions. The recipient remains, fully clothed and they're in a comfortable environment, a comfortable room. People often describe feeling warm or tingly or relaxed during their session. Like I said before, Reiki doesn't require any specific belief system or spiritual background. It's really considered safe for everybody, and it can really complement any other medical or therapeutic treatments by reducing stress and supporting the body's natural healing processes. And really, that's why it really is kind of like the missing link. Back when I was sort of trying all of those different modalities of therapy and healing and spiritual practices, this energetic healing was really sort of the missing link for me. So what is it really? So let's talk about it, how Reiki actually works from like a scientific perspective. First, let's envision a triangle of healing. So obviously a triangle with three equal sides. We can point to one point of triangle and label that as our physical health. Another point would be our emotional health. And then that third point is our energetic health. And all of these points are connected, which means they affect each other and they are affected by each other. So when we have an issue like maybe chronic pain or chronic illness, we can't just look at the body. We can't just look at the mind, right? We have to look at all three of these pieces. Otherwise, if we don't clear the root cause of whatever that issue is, whether it's pain or anything else from all three sides, it's going to come back. It's when we put all of these three sides together, that's when deep, long-term healing can occur. And again, I often find for a lot of people that energetic piece, that Reiki, that is the missing link. So, what is actually happening on a physiological level when we're practicing Reiki? Well, first, everything in the universe is made up of these tiny, teeny, tiny little particles that are all sort of vibrating at different speeds. They all have different frequencies to them. You're made of them, I'm made of them. This computer that I'm talking on, whatever device that you're watching this on, we're all made up of these tiny little particles that are comprised primarily of energy. And these particles, they all have different vibrations that they're moving at, and they start to affect one another. So they're all kind of in relationship with each other. So if you've ever sort of had this experience where you walk into a room and it's very clear that someone just ended an argument in that room, you kind of walk into the room and you're like, I shouldn't be here, right? You don't know why. You don't have to be told like in that moment that an argument happened. You can just feel it. You can feel it on on sort of a cellular level, like something just feels off. I mean, similarly, if you walk into a space where people were celebrating, even if you weren't present for that particular celebration, you can feel yourself kind of lift when you walk into that room. It's because of that vibration, those frequencies that are kind of left behind. These frequencies affect us on a cellular level. So when our cells are vibrating faster, we are at a higher frequency, and that's when we experience our best health. That's when we feel our best. That's when we have the most energy, when we're the most focused. We generally just feel really good. But when we are vibrating at a lower frequency, our cells are vibrating slower, and that's when we don't feel as great. That's when we get kind of sluggish. We might feel sick. We might feel achy. As our cells vibrate faster or slower, our physical and emotional health are affected by it. And these vibrations all play off of each other. A faster vibration is going to impact a lower vibration or a slower vibration. So, say I had two tuning forks, and one was a higher tone, a faster vibration, a higher frequency, and one was a lower tone, a slower vibration, a lower frequency. And I kind of struck them at the same time in the same space. The lower one would start to harmonize with the higher one, and it would get louder. It's the same way for all of these frequencies, right? So when a higher frequency interacts with a lower frequency, the lower one rises up. We can think of Reiki in that way, as sort of like a really potent high frequency, a collection of these particles that are vibrating really quickly, right? That higher frequency automatically kind of brings that lower frequency up. It's the same thing as when, I'm sure we've all met those sort of really high vibrational people where maybe we're not in the best mood, but we get around these people and our mood automatically lifts because they're vibrating at such a high frequency that our frequency then just automatically lifts to meet them there. It's that same sort of energy that's happening here. Um, so during this Reiki session, um, when this high frequency sort of enters the body, whether it's by hands on or hands near the body, or even at a distance, this can happen even at a distance, it causes our frequency on a cellular level to rise up and meet it. That's foundational. That's what's actually happening on an energetic level. So these vibrations, this energy, I'll just call it energy from now on, this energy travels through the whole body, regardless of where the practitioner is placing their hands. And it runs through a part of our body called our fascia. So, fascia is a tangible organ in the body. In fact, we used to believe that our skin was the largest organ in our body. But now scientists believe that it's actually our fascia that might be the largest organ in the body. And so if you kind of cut a body open, if you cut a cadaver open, you would see this fascia. It's sort of this white, stringy connective tissue. It covers the entire body from the crown of your head to your fingertips down to your toes. The standard comparison is kind of like if you had an orange and you cut an orange in half and you saw that white stuff that kind of holds the juice and the guts of the orange together. That's kind of like what our fascia does. One of its jobs is to kind of hold all of our stuff together and keep everything connected. The other major job that this has is to send messages and to communicate information from the body to your brain and back. And so this is how energy kind of moves through the body. This is how our brain connects to the rest of our body. This is how our nervous system communicates to the rest of our body. This is how everything in our body kind of works together as one unit because of this energy and this electrical current that is moving through that fascia. So whether we look at this through, like a biological perspective or an energetic perspective, there is literally electricity moving through this connective tissue every moment of every day in the body. So this is the reason why if a Reiki practitioner maybe has their hands on your head, you might feel a little tingle in your big toe. That's because this energy enters the system and it moves along this fascia, and then it kind of goes to where it needs to go. Our fascia is also very connected to our nervous system. Our nervous system has two sides to it. We have our sympathetic nervous system. This is our fight, flight, freeze response. This is our stress response, our survival response. And then we have the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the rest, restore, heal response of our relaxation response. Our nervous system doesn't know the difference between a saber-toothed tiger that's chasing us and our Wi-Fi buffering for just like a little bit too long before a really important Zoom meeting, right? It doesn't know the difference. It's going to respond, your body's going to respond in the same way to those two things. It goes into survival mode, and it's where, all of your energy, all of the resources in your mind and your body, it goes towards keeping you alive in that moment. Our digestion slows down, our memory, our concentration, our focus, they're all impaired. Uh, Pain receptors are affected. We feel more pain, more tension, more inflammation in the body. Our mouth creates less saliva, our heart starts to quicken, our breath, we start to kind of breathe up into our chest, right? If we're running away from a tiger, we're not necessarily taking these big diaphragmatic breaths. Our breath is kind of really, really shallow and in our chest and tight. And all of this tension builds up in the body. And if we're in that survival mode for long term, it can really have this domino effect on our physical and our emotional health. And that's when we get really anxious, or we start to see that chronic pain that starts to come up, or maybe our immune system becomes suppressed. So much of our modern daily lives, we are in that sympathetic nervous system, right? Our brains think that we're hit by that tiger 52 million times a day. And so therefore our bodies are constantly responding to that. So that's why a lot of us deal with, stress related issues. When we feel anxious, what happens in the body? Our chest gets tight, our stomach gets tight, our breath gets shallow, right? So even if that emotional trigger of that anxiety goes away, our body, our fascia, it's going to remember it and it will still respond. And so that's why it's important, kind of if we kind of come back to this triangle, um, your anxiety is not just an emotional state, it's also creating an effect in the tissues of the physical body. This is why Reiki is so powerful, because it's in that moment when our anxiety is heightened, when our breath is shallow, when we feel ourselves getting into that heightened state. It can be really a quick fix when we're in that survival response, when we're feeling really stressed, right? It's the exact same reason that when my kids are really riled up and it's really, they're having a hard time kind of calming down, in about 2 seconds I can put my hands on them and immediately they start to come back down. Their nervous system starts to kind of decompress. So learning how to do Reiki for yourself is so powerful, because we can create this resiliency, we can create this spaciousness, for ourselves, right? So that every little thing that happens in our day doesn't become that saber-toothed tiger, so that we have a little bit more breathing room to respond versus react out of habit, right? Or react out of survival. We can learn how to regulate our emotions and how to respond in a moment of stress, which then, again, if you have kids, you can teach them how to do the same, which is a very, very, very powerful life tool, right? To learn how to regulate those emotions for ourselves. So, lastly, let's kind of talk about our body's energy centers, our chakras. So, in our body, there are 7 places where there is more fascia, that connective tissue, than anywhere else. More fascia means more electricity, more energy. Those 7 locations directly line up with our endocrine glands. These are the glands that secrete hormones, either for stress or relaxation. So these 7 locations just so happen to directly line up with those 7 major chakras in the spine, which I think is pretty fascinating. Chakras are an ancient belief that there are energy centers within the body, and they all correspond with our physical health, our emotional health, and they kind of like the way that we move through the world. So if one of these energy centers is blocked, our energy isn't able to flow freely within the body, and so our frequency will be forced to lower. So some examples of why energy centers might be blocked, right? Say you know you need to have a really difficult conversation with somebody, but you're having a really hard time getting the words out. Well, your throat chakra is likely blocked. Um, Maybe you just went through a very painful breakup and you really just truly feel like your heart is broken and you're feeling that it's hard to breathe. Well, maybe your heart chakra is blocked. Um, Maybe you're all of a sudden questioning who you are, or suddenly your confidence has taken a big hit. Well, maybe that means we need to work on our solar plexus, the center of our being. So keeping that energy flowing freely within us is essential to that triangle of healing. So we are now going to move into a guided Reiki session so that you can perform Reiki on yourself. You can do this anytime that, again, you feel yourself getting into that high stress response state. If you can get into the habit of doing this every single day, kind of making this a part of your nightly routine, even better. You can teach your kids to do this, or your loved one, your friends, the people in your community to do this, to again sort of bring them back to their center. And it kind of allows us to move through our world in just a very much more mindful way so that we don't react, right? Um, so the only thing, again, Reiki is for everybody. So the only thing you need to bring with you through this meditation is just an open mind and a willingness to receive this healing energy. You might not feel anything. Your mind might start to wander. You might start to think about all of the things you have to do, the dishes you have to do, the laundry you have to do. That's okay. If this happens, just come back to your breath and focus on your inhales and your exhales. Okay. So, first of all, find a comfortable space. So, you might be in a place where you are able to lay down. That's great. I think that that's probably preferable if you can lay down either on the ground or, on a couch or in a bed. If you're not in a place where you can lay down, that's okay too. Take a seated position. And if you're seated, just start to feel the soles of your feet on the ground. So place both feet on the ground. If you're laying down, start to feel the ground or the bed or whatever is beneath you. Start to feel that beneath you and start to feel the support of that beneath you. And wherever you are, whether you're seated, whether you're laying down, start to gently close your eyes. And start to direct your breath or direct your awareness to your breath. Start to lengthen your breath. So invite a little bit more air on your next inhale than you did the last. And with each inhale, maybe say to yourself in your head with your inhale, I receive. And with each exhale, say to yourself, I let go. And as you do that, let go of any tension that you might be feeling in the body right now. Again, inhale, I receive. Exhale, I let go. Now, keeping your eyes closed, Imagine a vibrant white light energy radiating from within your heart space, just glowing with pure healing energy. And as you inhale deeply, draw this light up to the crown of your head, allowing the light to just sort of wash all over you. Imagine yourself in a serene space where tranquility surrounds you, and feel the presence of your highest self, that inner guide radiating wisdom from within. Allow yourself to be open and receptive to the limitless possibilities in this moment. And again, feel your body grounding and settling into the earth beneath you, whether you're laying down or whether your feet are on the ground. And visualize roots extending from your body and going into the depths of the earth, anchoring you here and now in this present moment. As you inhale deeply, imagine your pure white light filling you with hope, with clarity, with the power to manifest your intentions. With a cleansing breath in, gently start to bring your awareness inward. And with another deep inhale, visualize a simple box resting in the palm of your hands. With each exhale, allow yourself to relax further, deeper, become more present in this moment. And as you continue to breathe, see the box opening before you. This box is safe and it's sacred, and it's a place for you to put any thoughts that weigh heavy on your mind right now. Inhale peace and clarity. And as you exhale, begin to mentally place any worries, any fears, any doubts, any negative thoughts, all of these things, place them in this box. And allow the steady rhythm of your breath, allow that to guide you. Feel the comforting weight of the box in your hands, ready to hold what you're prepared to let go of. Imagine these concerns leaving your mind, releasing from your shoulders, floating away effortlessly. And once you're ready, place all that you wish to release into this box. Know that you can return to this box when prompted by your inner self, your inner guidance at the end of this meditation. But for now, and on your next inhale, close the lid of the box. Reminding yourself that this box will safeguard your concerns until you choose to revisit them, providing a space for reflection and healing at your own pace. Again, take a breath in, keeping your eyes closed, focusing on your breath. A slow exhale. And we will start to focus on the energy centers, those energy centers within the bodies, your chakras. So first, very gently start to bring the palms of your hands together and slowly just start to rub, very gently rub your hands together, sort of activating this energy source, this energy that you hold within your body, within your hands. Again, just kind of gently rubbing your two palms together. And then with full awareness, bring the two palms of your hands to the crown of your head. Inhale deeply, envision a warm and healing light descending upon your head through your hands, through your palms, enveloping yourself in a serene glow. As you exhale, feel this light blessing and revitalizing every part of your crown, your hair, your scalp, your skin, your nervous system. Inhale, and with each exhale, allow this light to cleanse, heal, strengthen, creating a sense of well-being that is radiating from the top of the crown of your head to the very root of your body. Now, gently shift your hands and bring your focus back to that area that we were at before, your third eye center, your third eye chakra. So bring your hands right to that area between your eyebrows, on your forehead, and start to bring your your inner gaze directly to that space as well. Take a deep and soothing breath in, and as you do, envision an indigo light, a divine symbol of profound insight. With each peaceful exhale, offer a heartfelt blessing to this radiant light and all of the interconnected body, your eyes, your brows, your nose, your ears. Allow this indigo light to penetrate deeply, feeling it nurturing your mind, enhancing your inner vision, awakening your senses. Now take a deep and cleansing breath in, directing your hands to your throat chakra. This is the center of expression and communication. Inhale deeply, envisioning a calming energy and a soothing blue light surrounding your mouth, your tongue, your teeth, your gums. As you exhale, feel this nurturing energy clearing, healing, strengthening all of these areas, and let this blue light soothe and harmonize your ability to communicate, ensuring that every word you speak resonates with authenticity and love. Now shift your focus and your hands down to your heart space, the center of love and compassion. Inhale deeply, visualizing a radiant green light surrounding your heart, representing love and healing. As you exhale, feel this light expand and embrace not only your heart, but also your lungs, your chest, your upper back, your shoulders, your circulatory system, your heart. And with each breath, allow this nurturing light to nourish and harmonize these interconnected parts, fostering love and healing and profound compassion within you. Feel this green light infusing every cell in these areas with vitality and warmth, strengthening your heart's connection to all aspects of your physical and emotional being. Now shift your hands and your focus down to your solar plexus, right below your rib cage, the center of confidence and personal power. Inhale deeply. Visualize a bright yellow light radiating from within you, symbolizing your inner strength and vitality. As you exhale, feel this radiant light clearing and healing your solar plexus, extending its warmth and energy to the connective, digestive organs. Envision this light embracing your stomach, your liver, all areas of your lower back, and with each breath, allow this transformative energy to empower and harmonize your core. May this bright light fortify these areas, enhancing your sense of personal power and bringing balance and wellness to your physical being. And with a deep cleansing breath in, Bring your hands just below your navel to your sacral chakra, the center of balance, creativity, and well being. Inhale deeply. Imagine a warm, nurturing orange light glowing from your sacral space. Envision this healing energy envelop your sacral chakra. And feel this orange light revitalizing that sacral energy, harmonizing your physical and emotional state, nurturing your body's natural rhythm and functions. And lastly, with a clarifying breath in, release and concentrate on your root chakra, placing your hands at the base of your spine, this foundation of your being. Inhale deeply, envisioning a rich and vibrant red light grounding you firmly. Exhale, feel this grounding light not only strengthen your root chakra, but also fortify your spine, your immune system, your nervous system. Take a few more deep breaths here, feeling the harmonious flow of energy as it moves from your crown to the soles of your feet. And start to come back to your breath. Allow your breath to reawaken you. Bring a little bit more movement to the body. Maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes. And again, just like we did before, take note of your body and maybe see if you feel different, if your body feels different, if you feel like that energy is flowing maybe a little bit more freely through you. And we'll take another inhale together, this time with your breath in. Sweep your arms out, around, and up, just like we did before. Bring your palms together at the top of your breath. And as you exhale, bring your hands down to your heart space. Rest your thumb knuckles directly on your heart space, on your chest. Take one more big inhale. Exhale out of your mouth. May you feel the healing power of Reiki throughout the rest of your day and throughout the rest of your week. Thank you so much, everyone. Namaste. And I'm sorry I did not leave a ton of time for questions.
We had one question
Let's.
in the chat asking
Uh-huh.
how many years you've been counseling others on Reiki. This person would like to pass along your experience, but they would like to know the length of experience.
Oh, yes, that's a great question. So, Reiki in particular, I have been a Reiki master for 2 years, and I have been practicing Reiki for 2 years. I first, with all of this, I was actually first a yoga instructor. So I've been a yoga instructor. And, like I said, that was sort of like my first dipping my first, my toes into uh, this the spiritual world and a meditation practice and all of that for almost 2 decades. I've been a yoga instructor, and then that sort of, led into personal training and nutrition, and then again, kind of bringing all of this together and all this energetic healing together just in the last couple of years. I will say too that everything that I do and all of these things that I'm so passionate about, I have started it from a place of wanting to better myself and doing this for myself. Even Reiki, right? I was on this healing journey that I wanted to figure this stuff out for not only but for myself, but my kids were also going through that divorce with my family. And so I wanted to, find different ways to heal myself and my kids. And so it's just been such an important part of my own personal journey, just like all of this other stuff, that I feel so compelled to share it with others. So thank you for being here and asking these questions.